Happy Monday morning to you. It's Monday here, anyway. I don't know what day it is when you're watching this, but today I want to talk about what is the point of job costing. So I think there's kind of this stigma that job costing is something that my accountant should do. I'm just the expert at building cool stuff like outdoor living spaces and all of that. And yeah, I'm not a spreadsheet guru, and job costing sounds amazingly boring and not something that I want to do. I just want to go build my next awesome job, which is awesome because you should do what you're good at. But I want to speak to why should you job cost? What's the point of job costing? The whole point of job costing is to take your estimate and after the job is done, um, compare estimated versus actual hours, expenses, profits, so that you can know where you went right and where you went wrong and learn from it so you don't repeat the same mistake again and again and again. Like, not job costing is like you're shooting for the bullseye of a target and you spend all this time trying to get those crosshairs of that scope right on the bullseye, pull the trigger, and never look where you hit. It's exactly what it's like. You spend all this work and effort trying to make sure you estimate that job just perfectly, but then not job costing is like, oh, I have no idea how I ended up. And fun fact, gut feeling that, oh, I just know I made money, doesn't cut it. That's not job costing. You might be right a few times, but you're also going to be wrong a few times, and that could cost you big time. And then there's all the peripheral benefits, like that Blue Jay's going crazy. There's all the peripheral benefits of job costing, like if you do it in real time, as soon as that job's done, your team can learn from it. And like, there's this basic innate human desire of knowing what's expected of me and am I winning or am I losing? What does success look like? And job costing is an excellent way to define what success looks like, not only for yourself as the sales guy or the owner of the company, but also your team. And you know, when I worked at Tesla Landscaping for years, like when we started doing job costing in real time, like, well, in the beginning when we started doing job costing, it took forever. Like maybe a month later, we'd finally find out if it got done even that, hey, we didn't make out so hot on that job. Why do you think that is? Like, what do you think we should do different next time? And by that time, I'm on to my eighth job since then, and I'm like, I don't know. And when we made it when we got it to the point where we were job costing live in real time in the synced up mobile app, it completely changed the whole dynamic because our career leaders, like, we were screenshotting the progress bar in the app and like sending it out to the sales guy or the owner, like, hey, high five, we crushed this job, we nailed it. Or if we didn't make it, like if it was a poor job cost report, like before the job was even done, foreman was calling the sales guy, hey, just saying, we busted tail on this job and we still didn't have enough hours. Or the sales guy was like, hey, why we go over on hours? And the guy's like, well, I mean, access was just incredibly tight. The client was super picky, and it just took longer. And so those are the kinds of things you start getting your foreman thinking like an owner in a bit, like they care, like they feel almost like robbed or insulted if you didn't give them enough hours to succeed and like beat the estimate. And they're also high fiving when they're pulling off the job site if they beat it. So like you get that, you connect that cause and effect, that reward in real time, and that's to me what is almost as big of a benefit of job costing as it is knowing when you made money and when you didn't make money. Because to be successful in a company, you need to have a team. You need to have a good team that they all care about how you end up. And on the flip side, when you're not job costing, and you never know when you miss that bullseye, your team doesn't know. I mean, that's kind of like, how are you supposed to have good morale and good camaraderie if you don't know if you're winning or losing? And unfortunately, a lot of the time when you're not job costing, you miss the bullseye too many times. The first symptom is like, hey, my profit and loss shows that I have or I made money, but there's no money in the bank account. Which number one reason for that is unexpected or not properly documented overhead expenses. Those rob profits like crazy. But yeah, the flip side of not job costing is you run out of cash, and not only do you suffer, but your team and your family suffers. Your team suffers because they can't look at you and working for you and your business as a career. Like, it's like a temporary stepping stone job because this guy doesn't know his numbers, and I don't know how long he's going to be around. but and your family also suffers because you feel like you've got to grind and work harder to overcome it and work your way out of this hole. And this whole thing can be flipped on its head, do a 180, if you just job cost and know when you're winning and when you're losing. Which at the end of the day, that's the whole point of job costing. It's not about geeking out over numbers. It's about knowing when you're winning and when you're losing, and making sure that your team can know that as well. And then the result is you not only do you thrive, but your team and family does too. So anyway, to wrap up this video, I'm quickly just gonna flip to my screen and show you what I mean, like what we do in Synced Up with the automated job costing, and like how it's so effective and so awesome for your crew to be able to follow along and know how you're making out. So let's flip to my screen here. All right, so here's what happens when you're using the Synced Up mobile app and all of your time gets tracked, all of your materials gets tracked. Like, so every time somebody visits this job, you can see exactly when they were there, who was there, what they were working on, etc. And I can drop down and see all the materials. So here's all my actual data, which means I can now compare my actual data against my estimate over here on this screen. And this is what beautiful, clean, effective job costing should look like. It's not about generating white noise and numbers. Like, I only want to know the numbers that help me make a better decision tomorrow. It's not about creating all this white noise of 13 rows of stuff on a spreadsheet. It's about like, hey, did I go right or did I go wrong? And like here I can see my estimated net profit versus my actual net profit. I'm slightly under. Why? Well, here's the answer. I'm a little over on my materials, not by much. Here's probably the biggest chunk, is where I had a subcontractor bill that I didn't have estimated in the estimate. But here I can see my estimated versus actual profit, my estimated versus actual expenses, and the red and green, like where I went good and where I went bad. And then the actual versus estimated hours, like where I can see like, hey, you know, and here's the cool thing about job costing. It looks at first glance like when a job costs the whole job, this is a bigger job in this example, when a job costs the whole job, it looks like I did just great, just fine. I came in 91% or 9% under my estimate, right? But when I drop this down, there is a lot to learn from here. I can see exactly, hey, this work area was great. Ooh, this one was not too bad, just a little bit over. This one we kind of got crushed on, and then all the others were great. So here's the thing, like when you're not making the money you want to make, it's like, well, what do? Do you raise your prices across the board? This gives you the information you need to be like, no, the water feature's fine, the outdoor lighting's fine, everything's fine. Where we got killed was this work area here, and they had a lot of custom work into it, and I just simply didn't figure enough hours to do all those custom cuts and stuff. So, you know, that gives you the information you need to go out there tomorrow and hit and get closer to that bullseye. And if you do this over and over again, it's part of your daily process, daily habit. I mean, it's about bulletproof. You about can't go wrong. So anyway, you can do this on a spreadsheet. You can do this on a napkin if you want to. We just make it easier and more automatic. So if you're interested in seeing what this would look like in your own business, just hit us up, book a demo, and we'll be glad to show it to you. But other than that, have an amazing day. See ya.